What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Retro Hoop Collectibles. Today, we are going to do a little data deep diving, answering some much needed questions. And it's something that's kind of been on my mind. I've been talking a lot about it recently, just kind of in other videos as just a side note. But I wanted to actually do some diving into the numbers and seeing what the numbers are actually saying. And the question is SGC closing the resale price gap on PSA? And normally what I'll do is I'll go ahead and pre-pull some cards and things like that. But I thought the best thing to kind of do would be to take a look at the cards that are really moving in terms of volume, and then take a look at those and see kind of what the resale is for both PSA 10 and SGC 10, and then also look at PSA 9 and SGC 9, and then kind of just look and compare and see kind of what the latest and greatest is in terms of resale values and whether or not SGC is closing that price gap. As you guys know, SGC is in my opinion, the number 2 in this entire race. It used to be PSA and then BGS and then SGC. I don't even deal with BGS. I don't buy BGS slabs. I have maybe one that I picked up a long time ago, but I have no desire to buy any more BGS slabs. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but and so, for me, it's really what I'm comparing is PSA and SGC. So, to do that today, we're going to hop over onto Card Hedge. So we'll hop over here. And I have this sorted by volume. So the last 7 days, these are the cards in volume that are moving the most in terms of sales online. So obviously, the very first one is Zion. After that 360 windmill dunk that he did, has popped up. 164 cards moved in the last 7 days. And so if we take a look in the compare tool, which you guys know on the Card Hedge tool, it's my favorite feature of it all, is the compare tool. And let's look at PSA 10 and SGC 10. And the first thing that we're going to see right off the bat is the amount of volume that gets moved in a PSA 10 is, I would say, 10x what it is for an SGC 10. And that kind of makes sense if you really think about the numbers that PSA is putting out, right? They're doing roughly 1 million cards a month is what they're doing. And SGC, I think, is putting out close to like 45 or 50,000, I think, based on the last gem. Here, let me take a look, just so I'm not talking out the side of my neck. Shout out to Gem Rate on Instagram if you guys aren't following them. According to the last one, SGC is putting out about 70,000 cards a month. PSA right at about 1 million cards a month. So in terms of what's out there, there's just way more PSA cards out there than there is SGC cards. So from a volume standpoint, SGC is always going to win, right? But if you look at the prices, right? PSA 10 base, Zion, Williamson rookie card, Prism rookie card, 194 for a PSA 10, 112 back in September. And then we have the next sale, 160 for a SGC 10, 220 for a PSA 10. So a bit of a jump still. And then one sold for 197 while the PSA 10 sold for 192, so commanding a little bit more. And then there was a lot of sales around that time, but again, volume-wise, right? In the time that one SGC 10 sold, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 PSA 10 sold. So it's about a 10-to-1, roughly, ratio. For every one that sells, for every SGC 10 that sells, they're moving 10 PSA 10. So there's just a lot more volume out there. But prices, again, SGC 10 selling for $179.99, and then a PSA 10 for $162. But again, the volume, right? Boom, 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 boom. You got about 6 or 7 sales of a PSA 10 for every one of a SGC 10. And then somebody got a hell of a steal here at $62. While the PSA 10s, those are more, I kind of consider those to be more anomalous. Well, actually, that was $57. That's interesting. But then 150 to 120. So there is definitely a disparity in the price. Now, as we look at the last, so we're looking at the last 3 months here. If we look at the last year, it's probably going to be much of the same. All right, so here's a year, yeah, and I mean, look again, the big price disparity here. You're talking about essentially almost double, 118 to 189. Yeah, you're looking at about 60-70% discount on an SGC slab as opposed to a PSA slab. And then as the prices started going down the last 2 or 3 months, you know, again, same situation, right? So not much closing the gap there on PSA 10, SGC 10. Let's take a look at this Griffey. For that one, I'd like to look at the 9 instead. All right. Versus an SGC 9. Where's my SGC 9? There it is right there. All right. PSA 9, SGC 9. $200 for a PSA 9, 160 for a SGC 9. So again, still much of a disparity, right, in the price difference. It's about a $40-50 difference between a PSA card and an SGC card. Okay. But again, volume. Just look at that volume difference. I mean, for every spike in a PSA, which is in the purple, the pink, you get a sell in a SGC for the pink. Just volume. And it doesn't seem to have ever caught up or ever exceeded a PSA. So, hasn't closed the gap much there really at all. Let's take a look at a modern card. I wanted to look at something a little more modern. Let's look at this Jalen Hurts. PSA 10, Jalen Hurts versus an SGC 10. Jalen Hurts. Again, this is base Prism football, so a bit of a run-up. So again, the volume is clearly apparent. $65 to $40, $70, almost double is what these cards are going for in a PSA slab. $50 versus $132. This is all just a big difference. So in modern cards, just not closing the gap at all. And then as we get closer to the run-up, $115 to $130. So there's a bit of a closing of the gap here, but it's not anything spectacular. A couple of times it actually outsold a PSA 10. But again, just in recent numbers here. But again, historically, just not closing that price gap at all. We'll take a look at one more here. Let's take a look at this Jaw. Jaw's been on fire lately. PSA 10, SGC 10. Yep, again, this one's a little more interesting. I mean, bit of a gap still, right? We're looking at about a year's worth of data here. Bit of a gap still, but this one it got pretty close a couple of times. So 175 to 177, couple dollar difference there. 260 to 222, so a $40 difference there. It's like a 20% difference. And then right around here, 199 to 207. So again, a couple dollar difference, relatively negligible. And then again, a bit of a split. Kind of got close together around about here, about a $30 difference. And then again, the split. And then as we get closer towards the end of this year, 160 to 140, 170. And then here's a double split right there. And again, closing the gap a little bit here, 146 to 139 for a SGC. And then $96 to $119 for a PSA. So again, this one's staying relatively shallow in terms of there's not really a big split there, big difference. But you know, again, the to me what I'm seeing is just volume. They're just PSA is more readily available, obviously, because of the amount of cards that they have out there. But let's take one look at this one just for the sake of the fact that France is going into the quarterfinals. PSA 10 Kylian Mbappe as opposed to an SGC 10. All right. Wow, this one's interesting. PSA 10 to SGC 10, not much of a difference here. Selling for about the same roughly, and then a little bit of a difference there. But again, as we're getting closer and closer, we're talking $30 difference, $20 difference, $20 difference, $60 difference. So it seems like more modern cards are $200 to $200, so selling for about the same here recently. And then there's a big split difference there in the most recent sale, about $50 difference. So again, kind of staying there, kind of staying with it. I mean, if you're talking about resale value, right? If there's a $20 to $30 difference between buying and selling a PSA 10, if you're a dealer, in the time that you would take to get back a PSA 10, you could have gotten back 5 SGC 10s. But the problem is moving them, right? Because they don't move as readily, right? People prefer a PSA because of the availability of it and the liquidity of it, it seems, because you could sell a PSA slab a lot faster than you can sell an SGC slab. There's no doubt about that. But I mean, those are the numbers. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, obviously, I would love to see SGC start selling for a little bit more because I feel like they have a better quality service. Their grades are a little bit more accurate. Their slabs are a little bit better looking, in my opinion. But PSA is just an absolute juggernaut. They're the 800-pound gorilla, and there's no doubt about that. I just wish they performed to that. I wish they performed like the elite grading company that the hobby has the perception that they are. Because if they did, then I'd probably be subbing with them a lot more. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If there's any particular ones that you guys want to see next time, I'll try to do these a little bit more. But if you like this comparator tool, there is not only this, but a ton of other features on the Card Hedge pricing tool. The link's down in the description if you want to check that out. You can get a free trial, and then you can check comps for free on the website. There's no need to pay for the comps. If you want to do a quick comp check on your card for the last 30 days, you can do so on the website. Yeah. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I'm pretty sure you guys got something to say in terms. Anytime I talk about PSA versus SGC, there's always the PSA fanboys always come out. So, either way it goes, I appreciate you guys watching. Love y'all. Peace.